Hi, Patriots. Before we dive into the history of Hezbollah's rise in Lebanon, let's set the stage. This story takes us back to a time when the Shia community felt forgotten and marginalized, fighting for recognition and power in a chaotic landscape. It's a tale shaped by regional politics, foreign invasions, and revolutionary ideologies that forever changed the balance of power in the Middle East. As we explore Hezbollah's beginnings and its growth into a formidable force, it's important to remember that this report was written before the current conflict between Hezbollah and Israel escalated into the headlines. The situation on the ground has rapidly evolved, but understanding Hezbollah's roots gives us the context to make sense of its role today. In this first part, we'll take you through the pivotal moments that led to Hezbollah's emergence, how a disenfranchised community became the foundation for one of the region's most powerful groups. From the Iranian Revolution to the Israeli occupation of southern Lebanon, each twist in this story set the stage for Hezbollah's transformation into both a military powerhouse and a political force. Buckle up, Patriots. This is a story of resilience, conflict, and a fight for survival. It's time to dig deep into one of the most significant forces shaping the Middle East today, Hezbollah. This isn't just some ordinary political group. Their rise is a tale of resilience, struggle, and a fierce fight for survival, power, and identity. It's a story that intertwines decades of marginalization, foreign invasions, and a quest for influence that stretches across borders. Let's break it down. Back in the 1970s, the Shia community in Lebanon was in a tough spot. They felt ignored, marginalized, and left out of the political game by a Beirut government that didn't seem to care much about their needs. But the Shia weren't just going to sit by. This was a time when movements started to stir. Different groups within Lebanon, each with their own vision of the future, were coming together, forming armed factions and political parties. Among them were groups fighting for the Shia cause, but they weren't alone in the arena. The Palestinian Liberation Organization, PLO, had already made southern Lebanon their base, setting the stage for more than just local struggles. By the mid-70s, boom, Lebanon exploded into full-scale civil war. Christians were pitted against Muslims, and left-wing groups clashed with right-wing forces. Amid this turmoil, Hezbollah's roots started to grow. But here's the kicker. Hezbollah wasn't just a product of Lebanon's chaos. Two massive external events shaped its rise. The first game changer, the 1979 Iranian Revolution. Picture this. Iran goes from a monarchy to an Islamic republic in a flash, with Shia clerics like the legendary Ayatollah Khomeini taking charge. Iran wasn't just a new kind of country, it was the new heavyweight champion of the Shia world. Khomeini had bigger ambitions. He wanted the Islamic Revolution to spread far beyond Iran to every corner of the Shia community. And guess where that took him? Straight to Lebanon, a country already fractured by sectarian violence. Iran saw Lebanon as fertile ground to export their revolutionary ideology, and Hezbollah was the perfect vehicle to drive that mission forward. Now, onto the second pivotal moment, the Israeli invasion of Lebanon in 1982. This is where things get intense. Israel, citing attacks from the PLO, launched a full-scale invasion of Lebanon, going so far as to reach Beirut. The PLO was forced to retreat, but Israel wasn't planning on fully leaving. Instead, they hunkered down in southern Lebanon, occupying it until 2000. For many Lebanese, especially the Shia in the south, this was personal. It wasn't just about the PLO anymore. It was about defending their land from a foreign occupier. Enter Hezbollah. Hezbollah didn't just rise, they emerged, with fire in their hearts, aligned with the Iranian vision and ready to resist. Iran provided Hezbollah with the training, weapons, and funding they needed to become a serious military force. By 1985, Hezbollah was no longer a ragtag group of militants. They declared themselves a resistance movement with a clear mission: expel Israeli forces and wipe Israel off the map. For the Shia community, Hezbollah wasn't just a militia. They were protectors, warriors who gave a voice to their long-standing grievances. And guess what? It worked. By 2000, Hezbollah's relentless attacks forced Israel to pull out of southern Lebanon. It was a victory that cemented Hezbollah's reputation, not just as a military force, but as a political power player in Lebanon's complicated sectarian system. But Hezbollah's story doesn't stop there. Over the years, they've evolved into more than just a resistance group. Today, they are a political party with seats in Lebanon's government deeply intertwined in the fabric of Lebanese society. They run schools, hospitals, and social services. Yet their controversial role in Lebanon is always up for debate. On one hand, they've become a symbol of Shia empowerment. On the other, they're seen as a proxy for Iran, with an agenda that sometimes aligns more with Tehran than with Beirut. And let's not forget Hezbollah's international reach. As a key part of Iran's so-called axis of resistance, Hezbollah has its fingers in many pies. They've fought in Syria to support the Assad regime, and their military activities have frequently sparked tension with Israel, including recent flare-ups in Gaza. Hezbollah has evolved into a regional player, a force to be reckoned with not just in Lebanon, but across the Middle East. So patriots, there you have it. Hezbollah's rise is a story of Shia empowerment, Iranian influence, and a relentless fight against occupation. It's a tale of how a group born out of chaos grew into a powerhouse that continues to shape the destiny of Lebanon and the region. Let's keep an eye on this story, because Hezbollah's journey is far from over. Now that we've covered how Hezbollah rose to power, let's dive into the second chapter of their story, a chapter that reveals their deeper entanglements in both Lebanese politics and the broader Middle East. This report, written before the ongoing conflict between Israel and Hezbollah erupted, offers a critical look at how this group evolved beyond its resistance roots. In recent years, Hezbollah's influence has expanded not just within Lebanon, but across the region, from their controversial role in the Beirut port explosion investigation to their active involvement in regional conflicts like the Syrian civil war. In this part, we'll explore how Hezbollah became the most powerful player in Iran's axis of resistance, acting as a central force in Tehran's strategy to challenge Israel and the United States through proxy warfare. Hezbollah's reach extends from Iraq to Yemen, and their role in the escalating tensions with Israel has once again put them in the global spotlight. This part of the story takes us to the heart of Hezbollah's regional ambitions and their role as a critical force shaping Middle Eastern geopolitics today. Let's keep digging into the story of Hezbollah, one of the most controversial and powerful forces in the Middle East today. You've already seen how they rose out of chaos, resistance, and a fight for the Shia cause. But Hezbollah's influence doesn't stop at Lebanon's borders. It stretches across the entire region, tied closely to Iran's strategic playbook. And right now, they're making waves that the whole world is watching. Now, let's talk about the tragic Beirut port explosion on August 4th, 2020. A catastrophe of this magnitude, one of the largest non-nuclear explosions in human history, should have led to heads rolling at the top, right? But here's where things get murky. Despite the devastation, no high-ranking officials have been held accountable. And who's been widely accused of blocking the investigation into the incident? You guessed it, Hezbollah. Many believe that Hezbollah, with its deep ties in the Lebanese government, has been actively working to obstruct justice. This even sparked deadly street clashes when Hezbollah supporters protested against the lead judge investigating the explosion. What could be more telling of their grip on power, patriots? It's clear Hezbollah's reach isn't just about guns and missiles. It's about politics, control, and protecting their own. But Hezbollah is more than just a Lebanese problem. As a key player in Iran's axis of resistance, they've become the spearhead of Tehran's broader strategy to project power throughout the Middle East. This axis includes militias in Iraq, Syria, Hamas in Gaza, and the Houthis in Yemen. Iran's game plan? Use these proxies, including Hezbollah, to indirectly challenge both the United States and Israel. Hezbollah is Iran's crown jewel in this resistance network, making them not just a Lebanese actor, but a regional powerhouse with global implications. Patriots, Hezbollah's role in the Syrian civil war is a prime example of how they operate beyond their borders. Remember, their original mission was to resist Israel and defend Lebanon. But when the Syrian conflict broke out, they jumped in to support Bashar al-Assad's regime, which happens to be one of Iran's closest allies. This was a risky move for Hezbollah. Some of their own supporters felt that they should stick to Lebanon and the Israeli conflict. But Hezbollah saw the Syrian war as an opportunity. Fighting alongside Iran and Russia, they gained invaluable combat experience, expanded their ranks, and boosted their elite special forces. So, while their involvement in Syria cost them some support, it made them militarily stronger than ever. Today, Hezbollah stands as one of the most formidable military forces in the Middle East. They've got a massive arsenal, battle-hardened fighters, and elite units that put them in a league of their own. This is exactly why Hezbollah's involvement in the current conflict between Israel and Gaza has everyone on edge. They've already launched rocket attacks into Israel, killing both soldiers and civilians. Israel hasn't taken this lightly, retaliating with airstrikes, which have killed several senior Hezbollah commanders. The stakes here, patriots, are sky high, and as things heat up, both sides are playing a dangerous game. Tens of thousands of people living along the Lebanon-Israel border have already fled their homes, fearing what could come next. So far, neither Hezbollah nor Israel has fully committed to a full-scale war, knowing just how much destruction they could unleash on one another. But make no mistake, this conflict is teetering on the edge, and any wrong move could send it spiraling into a wider regional war. Hezbollah's firepower and Israel's military strength are both enough to cause catastrophic damage, which is why this delicate balance is being maintained, for now. So, what does this mean for Lebanon, the region, and the world, patriots? Hezbollah's influence runs deep in Lebanon's political system, but it's also a force to be reckoned with across the Middle East. Their actions have the potential to shift the geopolitical landscape, whether it's in their direct confrontations with Israel or as part of Iran's regional strategies. Hezbollah isn't just a local player anymore. They're a central figure in the bigger Middle Eastern puzzle. Patriots, this is the reality of Hezbollah today. It's a complex, multifaceted organization that commands power through a blend of military might, political savvy, and deep regional alliances. As we continue to watch their movements, one thing is certain: Hezbollah's next steps will have ripple effects far beyond Lebanon's borders. Stay tuned, because this story is far from over.